much for joining with me today. Today we are going to be discussing about fighting for our self-respect. I have been meditating upon Ecclesiastes for the past month, and there is this one particular verse which got my attention, and I believe that it was kind of a revelation for me. If you see in Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 8, it said that there's time of war and there's time of peace. Now, when I read that verse, I was actually kind of surprised, and it was kind of mind-blowing for me because I never actually thought that we need to fight for something. I didn't think that it was biblical, because all this while I kept thinking that the only fight that we need to have is the supernatural fight, the fight in the supernatural realm. So we need to fight only on our knees. So we need to only pray so that the supernatural realm, God will give us victory, all that. But after reading this verse and meditating upon it, I realized that there are so many other things we need to fight for. For example, we need to fight for our dreams. To make our dreams come true, we need to fight for our dreams. Secondly, we need to fight for our rights. The rights that have been given to us as humans and provided to us by the Constitution, we need to fight for our rights. And we also need to fight for our justice, and we also especially have to fight for our self-respect. And today I will be talking to you about fighting for our self-respect. Now, this topic is something which is kind of tricky, because we need to realize what is standing up for ourselves, fighting for our self-respect, and being rude and being extremely harsh. Okay, so I will try and explain to you the difference, and I hope that my few tricks would help you to stand up for yourself in a way that you wouldn't come out as, you wouldn't portray yourself as throwing a tantrum or being extremely dramatic. Now, those things have happened to me, and so from experience I'm going to tell you some things which helped me. So before we go into the tricks, I want to tell a few pitfalls of not standing up for yourself. So the first thing is that you're going to become more closed off, and this has happened to me. It's like, having a bone is a risk factor for a fracture. In the sense, if you do not have a bone, you wouldn't have a fracture, right? So the same thing, if you don't have people in your life, you are not going to get hurt. You don't have to, stand up for yourself. And that's not a good thing. We are emotional beings. We have to have relationship with each other. We have to, coexist and we need to live with each other. And in order for that to happen, we need to start, expressing ourselves and standing up and fighting for our self-esteem. The second pitfall of, not standing up for yourself is that you're like a ticking time bomb, because you do not have a healthy outlet for all your anger and resentment. Because let's face it, you're going to be angry with that person who said something to you, and you're going to resent yourself because you couldn't stand up for yourself and say that whatever they said, you didn't like it. So you will snap one day, even for the silliest things that they might say, and you are going to come out as being, dramatic, too dramatic, and throwing tantrums. And the third pitfall is that you are going to be doing things which you don't want to do because you don't want to stand up for yourself. I hope that you agree with me. So if you do not say no, or if you say that I don't like going there, I don't want to do this, if you don't stand up and say it, you are going to end up doing exactly the opposite for what you want to do. Now, these three are the most important pitfalls. Now let's see what the Bible says about standing up for yourself and fighting for your self-esteem and fighting for your self-respect. The first thing, have you ever noticed that how Israelites had to fight Philistines or the Canaanites, the Hittites? Have you ever noticed that they had to fight people? Even when they were going to the promised land, they had to fight the Canaanites who were living there. So we understand that it's such a small thing for the Lord to just wipe away the Canaanites. But God let the Canaanites reside in the promised land, and it was Israelites' job, or it was the Israelites' duty to fight for the inheritance that the Lord was giving to them. Then how much more should you fight for your self-respect? Now, I'm not asking you to take spears and swords and then go fight with people who have hurt you. Now, that's not what I'm trying to tell. But you need to fight. You have to protect your self-respect, and that's very important. If you want to have a healthy relationship with people around you and people in your life. So that's first example. The second example is, have you noticed that Jesus always stood up for himself? If we see when Jesus was being questioned by the chief priest, when he gives a reply, the chief guard who was standing next to Jesus, he slaps Jesus, he strikes Jesus, and then he says, "Is this the way you talk to the chief priest?" And you know what Jesus's reply was? Let's see from John chapter 18, verse 23. It said that Jesus answered him, if I have spoken evil, bear witness of the evil. But if well, why do you strike me?" Now we can see that Jesus is standing up for himself. He's asking the person who struck him, "Why did you strike me? If I have said something bad, if I have spoken evil, then you bear the witness for the evil which I've spoken. But why do you need to hit me?" So that's what we learn from Jesus's life as well. He stood up for his self-respect, and also we see that Jesus stood up for the way that the temple of the Lord was treated. He didn't like the way the temple was being, treated, the dishonor that they were bringing to the Lord and to his temple. So he overturned the tables. We know that story. So that's the second example where Jesus stood up for himself, for his self-respect, where he was fighting for the self-respect and the honor that he deserves. And the third example I want to give you is Paul. Paul, when he stood in front of kings and emperors, he always defended himself. He always, he always fought for his self-respect. He didn't just stand there, and when he was being falsely accused, he didn't accept the false accusations. Now that's something which happens if you do not stand up for your self-respect. If you do not stand up for yourself, now that's what's going to happen. People think that you are a pushover, that they can, easily manipulate you and you are going to do everything and anything. Now that is wrong. So I want to encourage you to stand up for yourself by reading few verses from the Bible. If we see, the first example is Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 8. 7 and 8 actually. It says that there's time to speak, there's time for silence, there's time for war, and there's time for peace. There's time to love, there's time to hate. So I hope that this verse encourages you to stand up and speak up for yourself. Okay, the second verse which I want to read is Matthew chapter 10 verse 16, which said, "Behold, I send you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. Therefore be wise as serpents and harmless as doves." So you have to differentiate between being rude and standing up for yourself. Sometimes we think that standing up for ourselves means that we have to be rude, we have to be harsh, but that's not the case. Standing up for yourself is just expressing your feelings in a healthy way. So now here are a few tricks which help me when I want to tell someone that I do not like the way they are behaving. The first thing is to remember or keep reminding myself that when I stand up or when I speak up for myself, that I'm not being rude. I don't mean to destroy the relationships with that other person. I don't want to be mean, I don't want to be harsh, but I'm just going to express my feelings. So this is the first thing that I do. The second thing that helps me is to try and analyze the situation. Try and analyze the situation in which you are. Why is that person saying what he or she is saying? What are they trying to do? Are they trying to, hurt me? Is it really hurtful? Is it so hurtful? Or are they just, kidding around, joking around because they're friends? Are they just trying to, be playful? You can ask yourself that question. Is it really a big deal? The second thing is, what is their intention? Are they trying to tell that for my benefit? Sometimes people tell different things for your own benefit, but the way they tell it is different. So you have to deal with the different situations, or you have to analyze the situation and you have to deal with it accordingly. So that would help you build up your relationship. The third thing to do is, after you analyze that they're being hurtful on purpose, or you do not like the way they're treating you, please do not think that it's okay. Do not think that it's fine, it's okay, I will try to get over it somehow. Do not think that way, because trust me, it's just going to pile up, and one day you're just going to, go off. You're going to snap at them, and then people might think that you are just throwing tantrums and you're just too dramatic. Okay, and you do not also want people to walk around you on eggshells. Fourth thing is, whatever you have to say or whatever you want to tell, do it then and there. Okay, when the situation is right, when the situation is ongoing, or that it just happened like few seconds ago, or if it's still continuing, that's the perfect time. Don't take time, don't think that you will get to it another time, you will tell them another time. By this time you would have overanalyzed it so much, as time has elapsed, that the other person would view it in a very different way. They would say that they didn't mean it in that way, they didn't say it in that way, and at the end you're just going to be in a very difficult situation, and you're going to feel much worse about yourself. So whatever you have to say that particular moment. Don't wait for 2 months or 3 months and then go tell them, that day I didn't like the way you spoke to me. And when you say, they're going to think that it's such a silly matter, it's such a silly thing, why are you still upset, I can't believe you're still upset about it. They're just going to turn on you. And I'm saying all this from experience. All these things have happened to me, so I really hope that this helps you. And the fifth thing is, take some time, before you answer, take few seconds, compose yourself. First thing, calm your nerves, compose yourself. Do not show your anger on your face. So this is something which has really helped me. Don't show your anger on your face. When you start to show your emotions on your face, people just want to irritate you just for the fun of it. People just want to push your buttons just for the fun of it. So just don't show any of your emotions on your face. And the second thing is, try to collect the correct words in your mind. Look for the appropriate words in your mind. Words that are gentle, words that are not harsh, words that would build up the relationship. The third thing is, compose yourself. Stand tall, be bold, and tell whatever you have to tell to that other person boldly, graciously, and gently, so that the other person would understand. And I just want to finish off with the verse from the Bible which says that God has not given us the spirit of timidity, but He has given us the spirit of courage and boldness. So be bold and do not be timid, because God wants you to fight. Fight for your self-respect. Just remember that every fight you have, in the sense when you're fighting for the right cause, when you're fighting for your self-respect, when you're standing up for yourself, remember that this is going to give you courage, and it's going to strengthen you when you're going to fight on your knees in the supernatural realm. So thank you so much for watching. God bless you.